a strong line of thunderstorms getting closer to the western hill country. Usually when you get a squall line like this, the line of storms, you're just going to get some brief gusty winds, heavy rain, lots of lightning. They picked up 2 to 4 inches of rain just this morning in San Angelo. They're still under a flash flood warning. So with this line, I'm not really concerned about a lot of severe weather. Yes, you'll get some heavy rain and lightning and potential localized flooding. It's these individual thunderstorms that are happening in advance of the line. They're not sharing the environment with other thunderstorms as all by itself, and those are the ones you have to be more concerned with, and they could intensify into some monster storms. So this is a little mini supercell down here in southeastern Gillespie County and showing signs of rotation, but I'm curious to see an update from the National Weather Service if they cancel this. Because earlier, man, that thing was being torn apart. The circulation wasn't as strong. But hey, let's treat it as a small tornado could be coming out of this storm. Let's see if that rotation is going to get even closer. Okay, for some reason the computer's slowing down here. It's been doing a lot for us this morning, but we have the highest rainfall rates around Stonewall. I don't see a high potential of a lot of large hail out of this storm as it continues to move eastbound along 290. Let's see if, okay, it doesn't want to do that. So I'm going to do something else here to get the velocity mode on here. Bear with me for a second. Where are you? Velocity, there we go. And then we'll switch it over to a different color palette. Okay, there we go. Let's put it in motion. It lasts 45 minutes. So and I'll put it in the middle of the screen here for you. And it's showing some weak rotation right on top of Lukenbach, but not to the point where I'm really concerned that a huge tornado is on the ground. But there is just enough rotation in there that Stonewall, if you live in Stonewall, you need to still be in your safe place in your house, bottom floor, away from windows, bathroom closet in the middle of the house, best spot with this tornado potential in southeastern Gillespie County that has prompted a tornado warning for areas east and south of Fredericksburg for a tornado warning until 8 o'clock. And then this could move a little bit closer to Stonewall, and then we'll have to wait and see if it rides along 290. So if your morning commute consists of driving on 290 in between Johnson City, thank you, David, Johnson City and Fredericksburg, I would stay home for another 10 to 15 minutes. Let this storm pass, okay? Let the dangerous storm move on out before you hit the roadways. Not only do we have that potential over an isolated tornado, but also some very heavy rain and small to moderate size hail. So this is going to be near Stonewall. That's the worst of the storm. I'm going to back out and give you a quick update on what kind of warnings and watches we have out there for the entire area. We have a severe thunderstorm watch for areas from I-35, does include the Austin Metro, out into the Hill Country, and this will go until 10 o'clock. And I think since we have this individual storm, I have a feeling Storm Prediction Center may be thinking about issuing a tornado watch for later down the road for areas from I-35 eastward. So even though you're not under some sort of warning or watch over here in the eastern counties, pay close attention to the weather as the morning progresses. But right now, we have that severe thunderstorm warning overlapped by a tornado warning in eastern Gillespie County, and it does include parts of northern Blanco County, and this goes for another 30 minutes, okay? Right now, no confirmation of a tornado. Got an update from the National Weather Service. They're still showing signs of rotation near U.S. Highway 290 by the LBJ State Park, okay? So we're going to go back to the radar mode, and we're going to start off by looking at, let's see, man, the computer's really slow here. Apologize. Here is the reflectivity mode, okay? This shows you where the rain is, the potential large hail. None of that is happening up and down I-35. We just have pockets of very light rain coming in from the south. It's the storm out west that's causing some issues and concern. Looking at all the lightning also, that's another a sign that you should be staying indoors. You don't want to venture outside. We're talking about hundreds of lightning strikes in the last 30 minutes, mainly focused over Stonewall. So that storm is making a lot of noise for you. Fredericksburg, that storm now is pushing down to your south and east, so you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to be in your safe room in your house. But right now, along 290 near Stonewall and also the LBJ State Park, that's where you need to be inside. Okay, let this storm pass. No confirmations of a tornado, but it is showing signs of rotation still at the lower levels of the atmosphere where we could have a little quick spin up, and that's why there's that tornado warning until the top of the hour. As the storm is not moving to the north anymore, it's kind of veering more to the east. See if the velocity scope is working again here. It sure is, and it's still showing that couplet just south of Stonewall, right there, where the green and reds are coming together. And that is where, as it crosses 290, we have the chance of a tornado. Still no confirmation of it, but if you live in Stonewall, stay in your safe place for now. And we'll continue to monitor this storm as it continues to move off to the northeast. Doesn't look like it's the same kind of storm we had last week that dropped that huge tornado up there in northeastern Burnett County, but it's still a dangerous storm with the lightning, the heavy rain. The hail threat looks like it's not as tremendous as it was earlier. Yeah, the hail threat has dropped off. We did have hail sizes potentially with the radar estimating maybe a quarter to golf ball size hail in between Fredericksburg and Kerrville. And then as it started to move off to the east, I think the updraft collapsed a little bit to the point where it's only supporting perhaps dime to quarter size hail around Stonewall. So we're going to put, it looks like, if you look at the radar, I'm going to put this in motion here. It looks like a comma shape here, and that would indicate, see how, if you imagine a little mini low forming right there on the reflectivity. So you have that line here and it kind of wraps around. So this storm is rotating. You can see that by looking at the reflectivity. And where you have the bright red colors, that's where we have the heavy rain. I think the hail threat has diminished, but what we're concerned with, I'm going to stop the motion, is what's happening within the core of this storm where we have some velocity on the velocity mode, some rotation. Okay, I'm going to go back to the wider angle here and show you, if you're just now joining us on Good Day Austin, I'm glad you are because we have a lot of things to talk about. The storm threat is ramping up, and the worst of the storms now are west of I-35 going into northern Blanco County, and now still right on top of southeastern Gillespie County, right on top of Stonewall. Earlier, the radar was indicating rotation right on top of Lukenbach. Now it's right on top of Stonewall as it crosses 290 near the LBJ State Park. Haven't got an update from the National Weather Service, any confirmation of what is actually happening within that storm, if they've had any. It's going to be tough to see if it's a tornado, if you can see the tornado, because it's going to be rain wrapped. Plus, we have a lot of fog out there. So I wouldn't look out the window or venture outside and go, oh, I got to get a picture or video of this thing, because you're not going to be able to see it. Okay, so the best thing you can do in Stonewall and eastern Gillespie County is just stay indoors, stay in your safe room, put as many walls between you and that storm as possible, and stay away from windows, and you're going to be just fine. Because if it is a tornado, it's going to be on the weaker end of one, the smaller one. This is not a huge supercell. As it continues to show some signs of weakening as it's about to move into sections of northern Blanco County. Go back to velocity mode. The rotation has moved a little bit. Earlier it was over Lukenbach. Now the rotation is moving just south and east of Stonewall. We'll get out of this mode and zoom in even more. Take the lightning data off, because you get the idea. Yes, this thing is producing a lot of electricity here. So we'll put some locators on here. So there's the LBJ Ranch. I'm going to take the warnings off also. Okay, so there's 290, And then there's the LBJ Ranch, and there's high over here. You could be next in line. So we have Ranch Road 1623. That's where the worst of the storm is at the present time. And then it's going to cross over 290 and eventually Ranch Road 1. So if you live along those roads, you're in the path of this potential tornado. Even if you're not going to see a tornado, this storm is probably producing some very strong winds since it's producing a lot of heavy rain. It's rushing to the ground in a hurry, and then as that rain hits the ground, that wind will spread out, and the strong winds aloft will also reach the ground. And you can get straight line wind damage or downburst winds up to 70, 90 miles per hour. That could cause the same amount of damage as a small tornado. So if you're in your safe room and that happens, you don't venture outside, you're going to be just fine. Yes, you'll have some damage in the neighborhood, but you're going to be just fine. So treat it as either we have a small tornado on the ground or you have the downburst winds or straight line winds. This is near Stonewall where you're experiencing some very heavy rain on the reflectivity where you see the bright reds. Those are rain rates 1 to 2 inches per hour at least. We're losing the pinks and purples on the map. So that's a little bit of good news where we're not going to have the damaging hail, the large hail, like it was producing earlier. Now it's going to be that tornado threat as it nears Highway 290. Let's see if I can put back the velocity mode and zoom out of here a little bit. So that's where it's going to be here. It is now moving the rotation east of Stonewall. So along 290, if this continues its path, it is continuing to move to the east, northeast, around 25 to 30 miles per hour. That would put it in between High and Stonewall, crossing 290. So I can't stress enough, if you have family or friends out in Gillespie County, maybe they're not watching, maybe call them, say, hey, before you go to work or school, just stay home for a little bit longer, especially if they have to travel 290 east of Fredericksburg. The storm is just too dangerous. Not only do we have the potential of heavy rain lowering the visibility and producing a lot of ponding on the roadways, but maybe some downburst winds and even the possibility of a small tornado, as it's radar indicated at this point in time, and we have no confirmation of a tornado on the ground. As I check the updates from the National Weather Service, no new updates about this dangerous storm that's unfriendly across eastern Gillespie County. But in that velocity scope here, that is where we are finding the strongest couplet, where the dark greens and dark reds are close together, indicating some tighter rotation. And when the radar indicates that, maybe the next step is it's producing a tornado all the way to the ground. It's hard to tell by just looking at the radar. Sometimes you need verification, but this is not your traditional hook echo like what we had last week up there in northeastern Burnett County. This is going to be a rain-wrapped tornado if it's happening at this point in time. But right now, it is crossing 290. I'm going to move the velocity scope over a little bit, clear it out a little bit, zoom out. So right now, they're the strongest winds. Switch over to, I thought I made that one. Zoom out really quick, and then I'll go back to velocity mode here shortly, but I want to update everybody on what's the current situation across the entire area. There's only one big storm causing some issues, and it's out across the hill country. Up and down I-35, we have some very thick fog, dropping visibilities under a mile, and the roads are wet. And then the storms are going to fill in out across the hill country, and then we're expecting a huge complex of storms to rumble across the entire area for the next few hours. That's why the Storm Prediction Center has us under a severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock. And then a tornado watch after that could be added for areas east of I-35. We're going to have to wait and see if that plays out. But right now we have one storm moving into the hill country that has turned severe with a potential tornado in between High and Stonewall, crossing 290. And then there's a line of storms farther out to the west that I'm not concerned will produce a lot of severe weather. It's always these individual storms happening in advance of a squall line that act up. So we have this tornado warning for southeastern Gillespie County, northern Blanco County that goes until the top of the hour, along with a severe thunderstorm warning. Man, look at all that lightning with this storm. It is cranking out a lot of electricity here at the present time. where you have the dark reds. That's where you have the heaviest rains, but we're starting to lose the pinks and purples. Earlier, it had the potential of producing dime to quarter size hail out of this storm. I don't see that happening at this point in time. And then I'm going to switch over to velocity mode here to see what is happening within the storm with the wind flow of the storm, especially up there in northeastern Gillespie County. Bear with me here. I'm going to switch over. All right, so this gives you a better idea of what's happening. I'm going to save that, so I don't have to keep switching it over. There we go. And then here's the couplet I was talking about. It looks like now the rotation has moved north of 290. There are some communities out here, so if you live now east of Stonewall and just north and west of High, that is where the strongest potential of a tornado could be on the ground. Near the LBJ Ranch, if you're familiar with that, in eastern Gillespie County along 290, where you have the dark reds. So you have the dark reds in advance of it. That's where we could have some of those downburst winds I was talking about. That could do the same amount of damage as a small tornado. So even if you don't have a tornado nearby, I would stay inside for at least the next 10 to 15 minutes and stay off the roadways for sure. I'm going to keep the velocity mode on there. So right here, this is what we're looking at, the green and red together. I'll pause it. So the radar's down here. Radar beam is going within the storm, and you have this green color here. That means the wind flow is coming toward the radar, and then the very dark reds going away. So if you follow that motion, you have the counterclockwise spin in the atmosphere. It's been showing broad rotation mid-levels for the last hour, but in the last 10 to 15 minutes, the radar's like, okay, that rotation has dropped a little bit closer to the ground, so you got to be concerned about a tornado dropping out of this storm. So that's why the National Weather Service triggered that tornado warning that goes until the top of the hour. Right now, let me see the update from the National Weather Service. Okay, the rotation has become more broad. We saw that. We were showing you that. It's near the Gillespie-Blanco County line as the storm continues to move off to the east, yes, just north of LBJ State Park. They're going to keep the tornado warning going. So we're going to stay on live for you to get you through this storm until the top of the hour, but I have a feeling we're going to have more warnings and watches to discuss for the rest of the morning, so I'm glad you're tuning in to us on Good Day Austin. So if you're just now joining us, we are zoomed in to eastern Gillespie County, about to move into Blanco County, out in the hill country west of Austin. This is where tornado is possible as the storm is showing some rotation, but it keeps pulsing. Couple frames, it shows weaker rotation, and then the next couple frames, it starts to tighten up again. So our friends at the National Weather Service decided, okay, we're going to keep that tornado warning going to be on the safe side for our friends just north of High. If you live in Fredericksburg, this storm is moving away from you, okay? But I wouldn't travel on 290 going east, okay? Because you're going to encounter the storm. Don't do that. Stay at home for a little bit longer, okay? This is a nasty little storm, but we are on velocity mode here. This doesn't show how much rain you have out there or the hail potential. It shows the wind flow within the storm. And where you have what we call a couplet, we talk about this a lot when there's the tornado potential, the wind flow, you have the green going toward the radar, red going away, and you have that rotation right here near High. So if you live in this general area along 290, you should be in your safe room at the present time to stay away from the storm, stay inside, and you're going to be just fine. Let this storm pass. What I'm more concerned with on the front end of this system, a lot of maybe strong outflow winds, maybe a downburst wind event coming in just north of 290 here as you get closer and closer to Sandy. All right, that's a zoomed in shot. Let me zoom on out for you to kind of give you a better idea of what we're looking at here and what that tornado warning looks like. I bet they're about to cancel it for southeastern Gillespie County because it looks like that broad rotation, like they were saying, is right on the Gillespie-Blanco County line right here. Okay, so this is mainly ranch land in between Stonewall and Johnson City. Fredericksburg is out this way. The worst of the storm has moved to your east, but look out northern Blanco County. You're next in line. That's why the National Weather Service put parts of northern Blanco County under this tornado warning. That does include Johnson City. You're right on the edge of it. But if we put this in motion here, if it continues to move off to the northeast, it's going to bypass you to the north. We're going to have to wait and see if the National Weather Service, number one, extends this warning farther to the east, and will it include sections of Round Mountain, Horseshoe Bay, and Marble Falls? Because just looking at this in motion here, if you continue to push it to the northeast, it would stay north of Johnson City, and then maybe this is very rural area here in northern Blanco County, a lot of ranch land. But I would be more concerned that Round Mountain, Horseshoe Bay, and Marble Falls eventually could be in the path of this potential tornado. So bottom line, do not travel 290 right now in between Johnson City and Fredericksburg, and do not travel just yet in between Marble Falls and Johnson City on 281, because it looks like that storm is heading that way. So we have a lot of dark red and dark greens close together, showing that broad rotation in the mid-levels of the storm, and it could be lowering near the ground. So it's radar estimated that this storm could be producing a tornado. So right now, the rotation has moved north of 290, away from Stonewall. So in Stonewall, you don't have to be in your safe room anymore, but I would still stay inside. There's still a lot of lightning here and there, and also some heavy rain. Let the storm move out, and then you can hit the roadways, get to work or school. Now, if you live in high, it looks like the worst of the rotation is just to your north, and it's about to move into rural areas right along the Blanco and Gillespie County line. But it looks like now those strong winds are starting to move into northwestern Blanco County. Johnson City, for now, it looks like the worst of it is going to stay to your north, but we'll keep a close eye on it for you. Nonetheless, you're still under a severe thunderstorm warning, along with the tornado warning until the top of the hour, with the heavy rain and hail potential coming your way, along with some strong winds. I'll save that, zoom out again. And this is the only storm out there right now that's acting up. There are more storms off to the west. Don't want to forget about you in Mason. I'll tell you, this storm right now, moving out of the Concho Valley, is not severe, but it is producing some beneficial rain and also cranking out the lightning. It's going to be these storms that form in advance of the line. That's usually what happens, because storms don't like sharing the environment with other storms. They like to be by themselves and thrive, and when they do, they turn severe. And that's what happened with this storm. And look at that lightning threat. Whew. Looks like hundreds and hundreds of lightning bolts in the last 30 minutes. Yeah, 347. So make sure you stay inside. All right, so this warning goes for another 13 minutes. They're going to keep that warning going until the top of the hour. But now that storm is moving into a lot of ranch land in northern Blanco County. Take the lightning off. It's a pretty small storm, but it's packing a punch. And I've noticed on the reflectivity that we are seeing some pinks and purples on the map. So now that's telling me this thing keeps pulsing, keeps going up and down. It'll weaken and it'll strengthen. Sometimes that happens. Goes through a life cycle here. But we would see in this hail core at least golf ball size hail. So at least this is moving away from high Stonewall in Johnson City. Okay. Let's see if there's any roads here I can zoom in on. Yeah, this is pretty much ranch land. I think the closest road is up here near Sandy. That's going to be Ranch Road 1323. Okay. That's what this storm is going to cross over shortly. So if you live in that area, I would keep the vehicle under a carport in the garage, let this storm pass, because you get golf ball size hail, that's going to do some damage. But the worse that storm moving away from Stonewall High at the LBJ Ranch, that's the hail core, maybe golf ball size. If we go 3D mode, see how high those updrafts are going. Yeah, about 30, 35,000 feet. And we see the pinks and purples. Those are strong, violent updrafts that can support big chunks of ice. And then eventually, those updrafts can't hold that big chunk of ice and they'll start to fall to the ground. Let's go back to velocity mode real quick. Okay. So we're talking about this early, the update from the National Weather Service. Tornadic storm is now turning a little more to the north. This one is acting different. It moved north and then it moved east, and now it's moving more to the north again. And it looks like they will be issuing a downstream tornado warning for this through Blanco and now into southern Burnett County. So we were talking about that earlier, how Johnson City, it looks like you'll be spared the worst of this storm. Yeah, you're going to still see the heavy rain, lightning, gusty winds, but the rotation staying to our north of Johnson City and would move more into northern Blanco County, like around Round Rock along 281, Highway 281. And then eventually southern Burnett County would be placed under this tornado warning. Bear with me. So here's the new tornado warning on the map. Let's see here. Goes until 8:30. The other one will expire at the top of the hour. So that would take Gillespie County out of the tornado warning. You're in the clear as a severe storm moves out of your area. And then now transitions into northern Blanco County and southern Burnett County. So Marble Falls, Horseshoe Bay, Round Mountain, you are under that tornado warning. Now the storm, let's see how far it is away from you. The rotation, I'm going to stop the clock. Motion. So Round Mountain, you're about 14 miles away from the rotation. And then Horseshoe Bay is about right here. Horseshoe Bay, you're about 18 miles to the northeast of the rotation. And the last one up at Marble Falls, you're right on the edge of that tornado warning. They don't want to extend the tornado warning out too much because of the uncertainty of the strength of this storm as it continues to move. But it looks like Marble Falls is about 23 miles away from you, the rotation. Put it in motion, the velocity scan. I'll go back 30 minutes, not 45, so it slows down a little bit for you. So it's still pushing north of 290, moving away from Stonewall, and it looks like it will continue that northeasterly track to it. So Johnson City, I know you have some dark skies, probably hear the thunder out there right now, and you're like, uh-oh, storm's heading your way. Yeah, it is. But the worst of it is sliding off to your north. Let's go back to the reflectivity. A lot of warnings on the map. Eventually, those other tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings should be canceled shortly since that storm is now moving out of Gillespie County and moving away from Stonewall, but racing to the north. So basically, we continue to see the rotation. Looks like it's just crossing the Pedernales River, moving away from LBJ Ranch, but you have that little notch right here. That is where we could have that potential tornado, right there, okay? So you have the heavy rain, the hail core here, and then you have that little tiny notch right there, have the rain wrapped around that circulation. So that's where, if we do have a tornado, it would be in this location right here. So Sandy, if you live around the community of Sandy, you need to be in your safe room in the middle of the house. Put as many walls between you and that potential tornado as possible. So that is the worst part of the storm, where we could have enough rotation for a quick spin up. So let's zoom on out. If you're just now joining us, it's 7:54 on this stormy Tuesday morning. we were placed under a severe thunderstorm watch. You probably heard your weather app beep at you overnight. Severe thunderstorm watch was issued from I-35 into the hill country. This goes until 10 o'clock. And just a couple hours ago, there was barely anything on the radar besides some patchy light rain, some fog. But we were tracking this lone storm just west of San Antonio. And as it got close to the hill country, it kept getting stronger and stronger. And it did turn severe. At the first wave of it, the hail was the main concern. And now it's showing signs of rotation. So those severe thunderstorm warnings have transitioned into a tornado warning. Okay, and it does include now northern Blanco County and far southwestern Burnett County. It does include Horseshoe Bay and Marble Falls. Does not include the city of Burnett just yet, but we'll keep a close eye on it. So those are the latest watches and warnings. And I want to show you what the radar is looking like. So if you're new to the area and you're like, okay, where is this storm? It is well west of Austin. Right now, here in Austin, we are dealing with spotty light rain coming in from the south, along with some thick fog. You'll notice on your morning commute, very thick fog dropping visibilities under a mile, so you use extra caution. And then the worst of the storms are out to the west. And this is a pretty small supercell, but something we got to take seriously here. And we're keeping a close eye on it with the potential of a tornado with it. Again, I keep checking with the National Weather Service. It is going to be tough to see anything out of this storm. It is the most dangerous because, you can't see it coming. Yeah, you have the dark skies, maybe hear the thunder, but you don't know what is actually out there because you can't see anything because it's going to be rain wrapped, plus we have some fog. Okay, update from the National Weather Service. Circulation not looking as organized with the latest scan, but we'll continue the warning as there's potential for the storm to reorganize as it moves northeast into Burnett, far southeast Llano counties. Okay, so we were talking about that earlier. This storm is pulsing. It wants to strengthen, then it starts to fall apart, and then strengthens and falls apart. So the rotation is there. Right now it's in the mid-levels, but they're going to play it safe and say, okay, there's that rotation out there. Even though it's showing signs of weakening, we'll keep that tornado warning locked in. How long does that tornado warning go? The newest one for northern Blanco County, and then southwestern Burnett County, southeastern Llano County, goes until 8:30. The cities in the path of this potential tornadic storm: Round Mountain, Horseshoe Bay, Marble Falls, in the next 15 to 20 minutes. So you have time to go to your safe room, okay? Stay there for the next 15 to 30 minutes. Let this storm pass. Again, we haven't had any confirmation of a damaging tornado at this point in time, but we'll keep looking at the latest discussion from the National Weather Service and News Department, newsroom. If you have any reports of a tornado out there, let me know. We're not getting a lot of reports of hail with this storm. Every once in a while it'll show golf ball size hail, and these updrafts keep going up and down, keeps pulsing, and then the hail threat goes away. And right now it looks like that hail threat is starting to increase again right along the Llano-Blanco County line. There's a lot of ranch land out here. There's not a lot of communities where this storm is heading, but if by chance you live in this area, the rural sections of northwestern Blanco County, you need to be in your house, in the middle of the house, bottom floor, away from windows, okay? Where you see this little notch here, it's like a upside down U. So just imagine you have the inflow coming into this storm, so the wind's coming in from the southeast. This is what's feeding that storm, keeping it alive. And then it goes up into the storm, that wind flow, and then starts to rotate. So when it does that in the atmosphere, the reflectivity, the image, the radar image, will start to look like this, okay? A little notch. Now, I don't quite see a hook echo like what we saw last week, but if we do have a tornado, it'd be in this location right here, and this is about 5 to 10 miles northwest of Johnson City, okay? That's where it would be. Next in line, around Mountain, but you still have plenty of time, 10 to 15 minutes, okay? This is not a fast-moving system. It's maybe moving to the northeast right around 20 to 25 miles per hour. So the National Weather Service is going to allow that first severe thunderstorm warning, tornado warning, to expire at the top of the hour. That's about 30 seconds, so that will help clear the screen, kind of give you a better handle on what's happening. But they're going to leave the most recent tornado warning in effect, so that would go to the bottom of the hour. All right. So here very shortly, I'm going to reset the computer, get a drink of water, and I'm going to send it to the news desk here very shortly. So stand by, and then regroup here. Right now, the rotation is very broad, and it's out in Ranchland, staying north of Johnson City, but it still has the potential of staying a tornadic thunderstorm as it gets closer to Round Mountain and Marble Falls. Okay, so I'll wrap it up here. We'll send it to the news desk, and then I'll regroup here, reset the computers, and give the very latest on this severe weather potential that will continue to ramp up here in the next few hours.
All right, Zach, thank you very much. Good job. We appreciate it. Of course, we'll be checking back in. Meteorologist Leslie London coming in as well to help out with that coverage.
Stay with us.
Yorth, Zach Shields, and Atiana San Miguel.
Okay, just a little bit after 8 o'clock now on your Tuesday morning. We've given Zach time to take a couple sips of whatever he's sipping on over there and get back to to his work.
He has been covering the severe weather since very early this morning, likely to continue for at least maybe another hour. Zach, let us know what's ahead.
Yeah, the latest tornado warning for northern Blanco County, southwestern Burnett County goes until the bottom of the hour. I want to show you the time lapse where this storm began out in Gillespie County at Augusta Bend. You notice the dark skies, lightning strikes, and some very heavy rain. Now, the worst of that storm is east of you guys in Fredericksburg. Here in Austin, this is what we're dealing with. Very soupy weather, lots of clouds, some drizzle, some fog. We are storm free for now. Here are the latest warnings and watches. All the areas in pink, that's a severe thunderstorm watch that goes until 10 o'clock. Another example, you don't always have to be under a tornado watch to get tornado warnings. You can get isolated tornadoes even in a severe thunderstorm watch, and that's what's happening this morning. You see that red polygon in northern Blanco County. That is where we have that tornado warning. We'll zoom on in with the radar. And you can see this storm racing across areas just north of Johnson City. It's over mainly ranch land at this point in time, west of Round Mountain. But you see a little curve to the reflectivity. This storm is rotating. Now, not all rotating storms produce tornadoes. You need that rotation to get a little bit closer to the ground. It did earlier, and that's what prompted this tornado warning from the National Weather Service. They issue the warnings and watches, and this goes for northern Blanco County. It does include not Johnson City, but it does include Round Mountain, Marble Falls, and Horseshoe Bay. Now, just north of the rotation, where you see the bright reds and pink and purple colors, that is where we also have the hail potential with golf ball size hail. And I'm telling you, on the radar, we are having a tough time with this rotation. It's a very broad at this point in time, but it looks like it would be in between Johnson City and Round Mountain, just west of Highway 281. It doesn't look as intense as what we had a short while ago. Now we'll go 3D mode, and you can see the updrafts going up about 30 to 40,000 feet. So I'm not shocked it's supporting at least hail size up to walnuts or maybe golf ball size just north of Sandy. It's not hitting highly populated areas, but if you're traveling this morning, getting to work or school, I would avoid traveling 281 now in between Johnson City and Marble Falls. And Marble Falls, Horseshoe Bay, you may have 10, 15 minutes before that heavy rain and hail core move your way. Now, I put a future track on the core of the worst of this system, and it's heading for the Horseshoe Bay Resort right around 813, Granite Shoals, 814. Now, it doesn't mean the rotation is heading in these locations per se, but the core of the storm where you could have heavy rain and large hail. That could be heading for Horseshoe Bay at 813, Granite Shoals, 814, the Marble Falls Emergency Medical Station at 823, Smithwick, 840, Bertram, 856, if it holds together. That's way over there across sections of central Burnett County. And then we have this line of non-severe storms happening west of the hill country. This is what we call a squall line. I'm not really concerned about large hail tornadoes out of this thing. What's going to happen? Brief gusty winds, some heavy rain, lightning. So basically some beneficial rain finally moving into the hill country, and the leading edge of it now moving into Mason. Up and down I-35, we had some spotty light rain yesterday. We had about a dozen reports of hail from Liberty Hill down to Bastrop, and also Georgetown, Page, and Lincoln. This storm out west this morning, a different batch here. Radar estimates 1 to 2 inches of rain where you have the green and yellow colors. So that is right on top of the Pedernales River. That's great news. Now, is it going to help fill up the river? No. But that's where we need that heavy rain to fall if we're going to help fill up Lake Travis. And then out in the Concho Valley in San Angelo, that's where we had 1, 2, 3 inches of rain. So far, over 1.5 inches fell with that storm in Fredericksburg, right at 1 inch in Blanco, 1.25 inches in Lockhart, over 3 inches yesterday in Giddings. So we're stuck in this warm sector where the warm front's moving to the north, and then we have the dry line combined with that low helping to fill in the storms around here. And we have enough energy available, especially during the morning hours. It's going to be flip-flop from yesterday where we had most of the storms in the afternoon. Most of them are going to happen this morning. And there's the storm machine, this upper low swirling out to our west. As that pivots into Texas, it will provide the lift. And also, it could change the wind profile of the atmosphere, where near the ground we have that southeasterly wind, and then in the mid-levels we have that southwesterly wind that starts to put more spin in the atmosphere. And earlier, the Storm Prediction Center was thinking about placing our eastern counties perhaps under a tornado watch later this morning. Not under that tornado watch just yet, but it could happen. Now, out in the hill country, most of the storms for you will happen between now and about 11 o'clock. Here in the Austin area, may have to wait a little bit longer and could carry over into the early afternoon hours. So we're under a slight risk for severe weather. That's a level 2. And then areas across our eastern counties under a level 3. We're talking about enhanced risk in that shade of orange from our eastern counties into southeast Texas. That's where we could have numerous severe storms. Large hail, damaging winds, a little bit of everything is in play today. Even localized flooding and some isolated spin-ups. And you can see the hail outlook. The yellow means, hail's possible. You get the dashed line, that's significant hail that could do some damage. And then we have the highest tornado threat. We haven't seen something like this in quite some time. I have a feeling as that storm moves into an environment more conducive and has all that wind shear in place, the tornado threat will ramp up for areas off to our east. Now, I showed you this product earlier in the show, the computer weather model, and it looks like it's coming true that it was showing some of these storms are going to be rotating. Now, not all the storms that rotate produce tornadoes, but it just has that potential along with the large hail potential from now until about lunchtime, and then all that will shift into southeast Texas later on today and tonight. Our high-res futurecast has a pretty good handle on the situation, and that complex of storms will fill in up and down I-35 between now and about 10 o'clock. We may have to delay it a little bit longer because the storms haven't reached the I-35 corridor, so it may happen late morning, early afternoon before things settle down. I think after this morning's event, it's going to zap the energy out of the atmosphere, and we'll get a break this afternoon. We may get a couple more isolated storms hitting our eastern counties this evening, and then a few more isolated storms late tomorrow. Not only are we going to be on the lookout for severe weather, but also a slight risk for localized flooding around the Austin metro, and then a moderate risk over there into East Texas. All 4 models show rain, and some of them show 1 to 2 inches of rain. And in some spots already in the last week, we picked up 3 to 4 inches of rain. So if we get another 1 to 2 inches of rain, we may have some flash flooding to worry about. Maybe some minor street flooding, ponding on the roadways, and some closed low water crossings. Make sure you download our free Fox 7 WAP if you're leaving us here, but keep it right here on Fox 7 Austin. We'll keep you up to date all morning long until the severe weather threat is over. But if you have to leave the house, don't leave us behind. That's the best way to get the latest weather information. All right, I'm going to go back to the radar to update you what's happening here. Again, we have a severe thunderstorm watch, but looking at the National Weather Service, they are working with the Storm Prediction Center. They team up and issue the warnings and watches, and they're going to go, okay, so the severe thunderstorm watch, going from a severe thunderstorm watch to a tornado watch. Okay, we just talked about this. Tornado watch for eastern counties very shortly. Okay, so that's about to change. Now, we do have a tornado warning, if you're just now joining us, for northern Blanco County and also southwestern Burnett County. This will go until the bottom of the hour. Updating the weather computer here to show you that storm. Again, this is radar indicated. Just looking at the rotation in the storm of the potential for a tornado. No confirmation just yet from the National Weather Service or from our newsroom. On the northern end of it now, we are experiencing the heaviest rains and perhaps quarter to golf ball size hail moving into southeastern Llano County. This would put Horseshoe Bay in the crosshairs of not the rotation, but that hail core as it crosses Highway 71. So if you live around the Lake LBJ area, I wouldn't venture out. I wouldn't start to drive. I'd leave the car under the carport or put it in the garage and stay off the road. It's going to be a little too dangerous with the high rainfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour. That'll put a lot of water on the roadways, plus we have that hail potential along with some gusty winds. So that is heading for the Horseshoe Bay area, Cottonwood Shores area, okay, and then over toward just south of Kingsland Sunrise Beach. So where you start to see the pink and purples, that's not where we have the rotation, that's where we have the potential of some large hail that could do some damage. Now I want to switch over. Yeah, we're really losing. I want to make sure I'm on the right radar here. The closed circulation, the rotation, yeah, I'm on the right radar. So this is promising. that right now, I don't see a very tight couplet, meaning dark greens and dark reds right next to each other. We see this broad rotation near Round Mountain. It's about to cross 281, but I'd play it safe at this point in time. I would not travel in between Marble Falls and Johnson City. I'd stay at home and stay off the roads, but that's a good sign. Now, even if you don't get a tornado, this storm, if the updraft starts to collapse, will produce some rapid downburst, okay? Wind gusts 70, 90 miles per hour. That could do the same amount of damage as a small tornado. But officially, areas north of Johnson City going to Round Mountain, and then up near Marble Falls and Horseshoe Bay, you're under a tornado warning. However, I think you're going to be in the heavy rain and hail core, okay, from Horseshoe Bay to Marble Falls. And the rotation is still in northern Blanco County, near Round Mountain. Zoom on in. It looks like it's crossing 281. So if we do have a tornado, that is where we'd find it. South of Round Mountain. Excuse me, I was trying to read an update from the National Weather Service. See what they're thinking here. Because right now, the rotation doesn't look as impressive, so that's good. Now, it's still there, but it doesn't look as impressive. If this storm decides to hang on and keep showing signs of rotation, it would probably move more towards Spicewood, okay, near Highway 71, than Marble Falls and Horseshoe Bay. So where you see the green and red together, right here, south of Round Mountain, that is where it would happen, right here, okay? And then it would move more this way than due north, okay? All right, Storm Prediction Center just issued that, and they replaced the severe thunderstorm watch for tornado watch. And this will go until 4 o'clock this afternoon, folks, here in Central Texas, okay? And then more toward East Texas, like College Station, Houston area. I think for the morning hours, that is where we're going to have to be paying close attention to what's happening on the radar for the highest potential for tornadoes this morning. And then the tornado threat will shift more to the east. All right, we have Jessica Rivera out there in our storm tracker, our Fox 7 storm tracker. Looks like, is she on 290 there? 290, okay. Going out into this storm, okay, so leaving Austin, heading into northern Blanco County. Fox 7, Dripping Springs, okay. So tell her to go to Johnson City and then head north on 281, and then she would go on the back end of this storm. That's the safer side, so she's doing the right thing. Go due west and then go due north on 281. That rotation now is moving east of 281. So if you go up that way, then you can kind of follow the storm back toward the Austin Metro. And plus, we would probably have a better look if it is producing a tornado. You can see the visibility out there. It's just awful. It's really soupy. We have the fog. So it is going to be very tough to see anything coming out of the clouds here besides that fog and rain. If we do have a tornado, it's going to be rain wrapped. This storm has had the history of pulsing. So one frame, one cycle with the radar, it shows tightening of the rotation near the ground. And then the next few frames, it shows it weakening. Now we're seeing it trying to tighten up a little bit. This is going to be in northern Blanco County near Round Mountain. So you can see the driving conditions aren't ideal this morning. That's another thing. Take it easy out there if you have to hit the roadways. Everywhere else, if there's not that tornado warning, because the roads are going to be wet and visibilities are under a mile. But if you watch your speed, have the low beams on, you're going to be just fine. It's just going to take a little longer to get to your destination. Okay, let's go back to the Max 1, okay, to show you the radar. And I have it in velocity mode. This is not reflectivity where it shows you the rain and hail. This shows you the wind flow within the storm. And I have it in motion here, and it's starting to tighten up again. Here we go again. East of Round Mountain, 281, we have the greens and reds. Now, it's a broad area of rotation. So still the chances are slim that's producing a small tornado, but we can't rule it out completely. So the National Weather Service is playing on the safe side, and we'll continue this tornado warning that goes until the bottom of the hour. If you live in Horseshoe Bay and Marble Falls, you're concerned about this, Right now, the worst of it is just your south, south of where 71 meets 281 here, near Round Mountain. So we'll stop that and then go back to the reflectivity. And this storm continues to show signs of weakening and shrinking in size also. So the rotation is down here near Round Mountain, but the worst part of the storm in the way of heavy rain and large hail would be up here near Horseshoe Bay and Marble Falls. Okay, where you have the bright reds, that's very high rainfall rates. So that rain is probably coming down in buckets and probably dealing with at least small to moderate sized hail where you turn right off 71, going up 281, going into Marble Falls. That's where we have the strongest hail core at the present time. You know what? Let's go to hail zone and check it out here. But the hail zone shows it more down to the south near Round Mountain. So the heaviest rains, Horseshoe Bay and Marble Falls, and the hail cores as you get closer to Round Mountain. The radar is estimating the size of quarters or golf balls there. So like I said earlier, you know, wait this storm out. You don't have to hit the road right now. Call your boss, say, okay, I'm going to be a little late. There's a severe storm in my neighborhood, but I'll get there when it's a little safer outside. And plus, when you get hail size up to quarters or golf balls, that's going to put some dents in your vehicle. And that could be happening right now and around Mountain. We'll switch over to the reflectivity. And it shows now the heaviest rains and maybe the hail core maybe moving more to the north. Make sure this is the right radar here. Yep, it sure is. Okay. So we have this tornado warning for just now joining us. It's 8:20, and parts of southern Burnett County and also far northern Blanco County under a tornado warning until 8:30. We'll zoom on out. That's the only storm close by. Everybody else dealing with on and off light rain. And then we have this line of storms out here over the western hill country about to fill in Mason County. And then also we've got to pay close attention to what's happening down here too, west of San Antonio, new development. And I think this is going to be the storm development that is going to lift into our area later this morning. And that's what is concerning the Storm Prediction Center, where we have enough wind shear, low-level wind shear in the atmosphere where as these storms grow up, and this is where the storm that's severe right now originated from. So that's been a prime spot. And then as it starts to lift to the north and encounters all that low-level wind shear, some of those storms could rotate. I think that's what the Storm Prediction Center is concerned with, and that is why they have placed much of central Texas under a tornado watch. I want to update that map here. If you joined us at the top of the hour, we were talking about a severe thunderstorm watch. Now it's been upgraded, unfortunately, to a tornado watch. I know the banner says severe thunderstorm watch. I haven't had a chance to change that up, but it's a tornado watch. That goes until 4 p.m. All the counties in yellow, okay? That means conditions are favorable. If storms do develop, there's enough rotation in the atmosphere that we could have a quick spin up or two, okay? And then Mason and San Saba counties are still under that severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock. And then you have that red polygon. That is where we have that tornado warning to the bottom of the hour. Haven't had an update yet from the National Weather Service to see what they want to do with it, to see if they want to extend it. I think they're going to wait for another 5 minutes and then go from there. So we'll switch over to the reflectivity to kind of give you a better idea of what that storm is doing. Now it looks like the heaviest rains and the hail potential moving into Marble Falls and then back toward Granite Shoals and Horseshoe Bay. So you could pick up a quick 1 to 2 inches of rain. The rotation is happening well south of that hail core as you go down 281. Okay, so we'll switch over to the velocity mode. This shows you the wind flow within the storm, and I just don't see any tight coupling here, tightening of the couplet with the velocity mode to indicate a high potential of a tornado on the ground. Now, I still see some broad rotation in mid-levels, but I don't see it happening closer to the ground. But that doesn't mean we don't have a small spin up here and there with this storm. But right now, it is showing signs of racing to the northeast. The winds are coming together here, right here on the border of Blanco and Burnett counties. So this would put it south of Highway 71 and east of Highway 281. So that is where we have the highest potential of seeing a tornado if that rotation is strong enough to produce enough spin near the ground for a tornado touchdown. So the computer's beeping at me, so see if that means there's another warning or watch. Doesn't look like it. So that tornado warning still in effect until the bottom of the hour. Did the newsroom, have we gotten anything, Dave or Amanda, any confirmation of damage, tornadoes out there in the hill country?
No confirmation of damage or tornadoes in the hill country just yet. The only new information we have coming into the newsroom is from Marble Falls ISD. This is in our update folder. All campuses are currently sheltering in place due to severe weather in the area.
Would make sense what Zach's been saying, that you want to delay that trip to a work or school, and obviously school districts having over the last 30, 45 minutes to deal with that out there.
Marble Falls ISD saying their emergency procedures are active and their students and staff are safe indoors right now.
I guess, yeah, plenty of students already on campus if they've made it out there.
That's true. A lot of them headed over to school. The elementary school starting at about 7:20 or so, and the other ones progressively getting in a little later in time. Middle schools, high schools. This right here from Marble Falls ISD. Our Simon's desk is taking in calls to keep us updated as well as you updated. As Zach mentioning from the National Weather Service there about that change from severe to tornado, from just a storm to a tornado.
All eyes on southern Burnett County, far northern Blanco County, Zach said, and some of the concerns that might be ongoing throughout the rest of the morning. Zach, we're going to send it over to you, or we're going to go somewhere else?
Hey guys, just got an update from the National Weather Service. Happy to report the storm that prompted that tornado warning is still showing signs of the disorganization of the circulation. So that tornado warning will be allowed to expire here in the next 4 minutes. I was showing you this on velocity scan that I just didn't see any tight rotation near the ground. National Weather Service seeing the same thing we're seeing. Yeah, there's a little bit of rotation out there, but not enough to keep that tornado warning going. However, this storm is still severe, so now southern Burnett County is under a severe thunderstorm warning all the way until 9:15, okay? And this warning goes all the way up into western Williamson County. So let me go to a different product here to kind of give you a better idea of what these warnings and watches look like. That's the velocity scan. We've been tracking this potential tornadic thunderstorm, but no confirmation of a tornado on the ground. This thing's been pulsing. It'll get strong and then weaken, get stronger and weaken and stronger. But all the counties here in yellow, that is a brand new tornado watch. The severe thunderstorm watch has been replaced because they're looking at the environment out there, and there's enough wind shear at the low levels that the storms get going, they could spin. So tornado watch means watch out. There is that potential that if these storms do develop, they could produce a quick spin up or two. And this watch goes all the way until 4 o'clock, but this watch goes all the way over into East Texas. So I have a feeling as we get close to the afternoon, they'll have to trim away this tornado watch that goes until 4 o'clock. So this red polygon you see here in southern Burnett County, northern Blanco County, that's about to go bye-bye in the next 3 minutes. The circulation is disorganized and the tornado threat is decreasing. Can't rule it out completely, but it is decreasing to the point where National Weather Service can discontinue that tornado warning. Now, it has been replaced by a severe thunderstorm warning, okay, for parts of Burnett County, far northwestern Travis County, north of the lake, closer to Lago Vista, and then also western Williamson County. We'll switch back over to the radar and show you what is happening with that storm. We've been tracking here on Good Day Austin for the last couple of hours for you. And if you're just now joining us, we're going to stay pretty stormy this morning, and then it'll slowly settle down as we go into the afternoon. So this is what the storm looks like by using the reflectivity. So it's the radar beam going through the storm, and it hits raindrops and hailstones and reports back. And where you have the dark reds and dark oranges, that's the heavy rain. Then when you start to see the pinks and purples, that is when you could have a hail core. And sure enough, it's on the eastern side of Marble Falls. That's where we have the potential of golf ball size hail. Okay, and that's why you're under a severe thunderstorm warning now until 9:15. Okay. Do they have the hail size, Amanda?
Indicating hail size, and we haven't seen the video just yet, but that just came in since you were asking for reports.
All right, so we have verification that, yes, the radar's right, and this storm is still severe, and the number one threat at this point in time would be large hail. Okay, so the radar is estimating hailstones the size, estimation of walnut size, maybe up to golf ball size. Keeps going back and forth. But right now, the hail core looks like it's starting to shift more to the east of Marble Falls. So heads up, Spicewood, Smithwick, you could be in the path of this severe storm as it continues to move off to the northeast. You know what? I'm going to put a future track on here for you. So yeah, Marble Falls, the heart of Marble Falls here, you're right on the edge of the heavy rain and hail core. So near Marble Falls High School, we just had reports that the kids are safe. They're in the school. They're seeking shelter until this storm passes. But happy to report the tornado threat has diminished from Marble Falls. Now we're just dealing with some very heavy rain rates 1 to 2 inches per hour, and also some large hail. That's starting to move along 1431 east of Marble Falls. So you see the purple colors there? That is where we could have the damaging hail. So I would avoid traveling in between Smithwick and Marble Falls 1431 at this point in time. It's just too dangerous. That's a windy road anyways. And then you add on heavy rain causes ponding on the roadways, large hailstones. That is not a good combination. We'll zoom on out. Northern Blanco County, you are out of that tornado warning. The worst of the storm moving north of you. Where the storm started in Gillespie County, you're in good shape. The storms have hit the road, but we're not out of the woods just yet. More storms are possible here in the next few hours. Okay, we have new storms trying to develop west of San Antonio. And then we have a new line. Well, it's not a new line. We've been tracking it all morning long since the middle of the night, but it's finally making its way into the western hill country from Mason up to Richland Springs. We do have the bright reds indicating the heavy rain and probably lots of lightning. I'll switch on the lightning back on there. Yep, sure enough, some lightning strikes north of Mason and then west of St. Saba going up into Richland Springs. But the main concern right now is with this mini supercell that's had the history of some rotation, but no confirmation that it set off a tornado. If it did, it was probably couldn't see it. It was rain wrapped, fog wrapped. We have very soupy weather, plus it happened over mainly ranch land, north of Stonewall, near the LBJ Ranch as it crossed over 290, and then stayed west of Johnson City, west of Round Mountain. Now our biggest concern is the hail threat here, moving east of Marble Falls along 1431, okay, nearing Smithwick. So keep that car in the garage, keep it under the carport. If you have Tom Smithwick, you don't have any of those things, maybe put a blanket, heavy-duty blanket on top of the car to protect it from the hail. But I wouldn't venture outside right now. There's probably too much lightning. Yep, too much lightning to be outside. So it's a little too late to do that. So the hail potential is there, maybe a dime to golf ball size. Now pushing east of Marble Falls, where we have still some rain from Marble Falls and the intersection of 71 281. And then let's see, Burnett, you're not in that severe thunderstorm warning, but you may see a little bit of rain and lightning, but nothing severe. The worst of it right there in Smithwick. And then we'll go 3D here with this thing. And the updrafts still right around 35,000 feet. So that's tall enough to produce those big chunks of ice as the raindrops continue to cycle through that storm, as the updrafts send them way up in the sky and then gather up more liquid, and then they refreeze as they get higher in the sky, and then they drop down, gather up more liquid, and then they go back up as the updraft, those violent updrafts send them back up to refreeze into bigger hailstones. And it looks like the hail core now, the heavy rain core now pushing east of Marble Falls. Let's put a future track on it, see where this storm is going. It's moving away from Horseshoe Bay and Marble Falls and Granite Shoals. So now we have to focus our attention on this storm moving into sections of western Williamson County. And lately, you've had a lot of hail events, and it looks like there's another hailer heading your way. Also far northwestern Travis County, north of Lago Vista. We'll put it in motion here, kind of give you an idea of where it's going and where it's been. So exiting northern Blanco County, going into southern Burnett County, and now next stop, western Williamson County. And that severe thunderstorm warning goes until 9:15. Number one concern with this one right now is large hail. Okay, let's stop it, put a future track on it. Now, you're already seeing some rain north of Lago Vista, Liberty Hill. Check, see what radar we're on here. Okay, I want to take San Angelo off. Okay, there we go, better. Put a future track on it for you. Let's see here. Use this one. And I want to start it where the red is. Okay, that is where we're going to have the highest rain rates. And then we'll have the hail potential there. And it's moving to the northeast around 25 miles per hour. So nearing Liberty Hill at 8:57. If it holds together, it probably will. Oatmeal at 8:47. Bertram Elementary School at 9 o'clock. And Dice at 9:21. And then the Community Baptist Church up there at 9:28. And then CFC Aviation Ranch at 8:49. Those estimated time of arrivals with this storm heading your way. It's interesting, the southern end of it still has a notch to it, so we're going to have to pay close attention to that. This storm has had the history of pulsing up and down, and let me see if I can get the velocity scope up again to see what is going on with this tail end of this storm. Okay. I don't see any tight rotation here with that, so that's good. So we'll clear that. Go back to the hail zone. Okay, so we're starting to lose the blue colors. So it looks like it dropped its hail just near Marble Falls and is probably recycling here. So I wouldn't let your guard down just yet. But it looks like at least quarter-size hail nearing Spicewood and Smithwick with this storm right here. And I want to zoom out to show you the kind of the history of what was happening here. So yeah, that hail core went right into Marble Falls. It was in and out of there in no time, but we probably have some damage reports coming out of Marble Falls of the potential of quarter to golf ball size hail. Any more hail cores out there? No, that's the only one. That's. Okay. Well, that's good. Let me reset here, and then I'm going to go through a whole weathercast because a lot of us are watching. Good Day Austin from other areas here in Central Texas kind of want to know what you can expect for the rest of the day because I think this is just the beginning, folks. Okay. Okay, update from the National Weather Service before I go on. Severe thunderstorm warning was just updated to lower hail size and to also include mention of torrential downpours. I just showed you that on the hail zone. The size of the hailstones are coming down, but the heavy rain continues in cross sections of Burnett County. Let me go back to the radar. Apologize that. Showing the time lapse. It's loading up here, and you'll have that radar very shortly. Stand by. While the storm motion should be fast enough to limit flooding issues, it will rain extremely hard when the core moves overhead. Yes, the radar is indicating rainfall rates 1 to 3 inches per hour. So now the tornado threat is diminishing, the hail threat is diminishing, but the heavy rain continues as it moves closer and closer to Highway 29 up here in western Williamson County. So if you live in Bertram, Burnett, Liberty Hill, and eventually Briggs and Florence and Andice, this storm is heading your way. Happy to report, though, we're not seeing a lot of pinks and purples, right? The large hail. We're not seeing a lot of rotation with this storm, even though we have a little something there on the very end of it. I keep looking to see if there's rotation with that, but there's not, so that's good. The tornado threat for now is dropping off, but that tornado watch goes until 4 o'clock. We're going to have more storms moving on in. But right now, the only warning to pass along to you is a severe thunderstorm warning for southern Burnett County all the way up into western Williamson County. This goes until 9:15, but the worst of the storm now is moving east of Marble Falls. All right, let's regroup here. We're getting rainfall rates, rainfall totals, I should say, out there in southern Burnett County, 1 to 2 inches, just like that. Okay, so just north of there has been some silo. Okay, 1 to 2 inches. Okay, so we'll zoom on out and then go through a weathercast here really quick to kind of give you an idea of what you can expect for the rest of today. Okay, so what happened yesterday, we had a warm front that came through, set off all the rain. That was a nice rain. Even had some reports of hail. We had a dozen hail reports from Liberty Hill all the way down to Lincoln, Bastrop, and Page. And that's a precursor of what could happen today. But we're in that warm sector. Warm front moving north, and then we have the dry line punching eastbound. At the same time, in the upper levels, we have this low pivoting into Texas. So all the ingredients are coming together. So in between this warm front and the dry line, that's going to be the storm zone. And what we're seeing this morning is just a preview of what's to come. And our computer weather models were showing enough energy built up that if the storms did get going, they would turn severe. And there's the upper low. That's going to be the storm machine. It's turning toward Texas and providing that rising motion. So we're thinking now until about late morning. That's when we're going to have most of the storms in the hill country. And then here in the Austin area, it's going to happen a little bit later, closer to 10 o'clock, it looks like for now, and could linger all the way through early afternoon. Okay. And then LaGrange all the way through the afternoon. That's what concerns me, the slow motion of these storms. They were supposed to be in and out of here first thing this morning, stabilize the atmosphere. But if they're slowing down and the atmosphere doesn't stabilize completely, we could have another flare-up of severe storms during the warmest part of the day over our eastern counties. And that's why the National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center has placed us under that tornado watch all the way until 4 o'clock. They also have areas from Austin eastward under that enhanced risk, a level 3 out of 5 severe weather day. So not only are we going to be on the lookout for some hailers, but also some damaging winds, some localized flooding, so a little bit of everything, and then maybe a quick spin up or two possible. This is the hail outlook. A lot of yellow on the map, the possibility of some large hail, especially with those dashed lines. When the Storm Prediction Center does that, they're saying, yeah, we could have some significant hail that could do some damage. And then we haven't seen this in quite some time. The tornado threat, the highest from our eastern counties all the way over to the Piney Woods of East Texas, north side of Houston, and the Brazos Valley. And even our computer weather models were hinting at the possibility of some rotating thunderstorms, and it was right on the money. And we could still see a few more rotating thunderstorms later on this morning. Now, it doesn't mean all rotating storms produce tornadoes, but there's that potential in place. Along with the large hail potential, where you have the dark reds, that's where we have enough instability of the temperature profile to produce these violent updrafts to create these big chunks of ice. Starting tonight and tomorrow, that hail threat will shift more to the south and east. All right, our high-res futurecast, it's running behind schedule. It was trying to bring in the storms right around 7 o'clock out in the hill country and then the I-35 corridor between 8 and 9. Well, that's not happening just yet, so let's delay it a couple more hours. But you kind of get the idea how the isolated storms form first, and then it turns into a huge complex of storms because the atmosphere is very unstable. But it could carry over all the way through the early afternoon hours, and then we may have another quick flare-up of isolated severe weather over eastern counties this evening, depending on what happens during the day. And then tomorrow late in the day, can't rule out some isolated thunderstorms, but the coverage won't be as widespread. Not only are we going to be on the lookout for the potential of large hail, damaging winds, tornadoes, but also flooding. The highest threat of flooding will remain over here in East Texas, Louisiana. For us, a level 2 out of 4. And all 4 computer weather models show some rain with the highest totals now from Austin eastward. And that's where spots got 2, 3, 4 inches of rain yesterday. The ground's super saturated, so if we get another 1 to 2 inches of rain, yes, I know we're in drought mode, but if you get that heavy rain, that ground can't soak it up quick enough, and it's going to run off into low-lying areas, and we could have some minor street flooding, a moderate risk of that, ponding on the roads, low to moderate risk of flash flooding, a low risk of river flooding, and this is a good weather tool to have. Glad you're tuning in this morning and join us on Good Day Austin to give you the latest weather information. But if you have to leave the house, don't leave the weather behind. Download our free Fox 7 app, okay, to get the latest weather alerts. It alerted me first thing this morning, oh, we're under a severe thunderstorm watch, and it's probably sending you warnings right now. Plus, you have access to interactive radar. You can zoom on in and track the storms with us to see what we got. All right, we're going to recalibrate here, download the maps again, refocus here, all the radar images. We'll get you more weather information. Again, we have that severe thunderstorm warning for southern Burnett County, western Williamson County. That goes until 9:15. Right now, heavy rain, some moderate size hail are the main threats. For now, the tornado threat is dropping, but we're still under that tornado watch until 4 o'clock this afternoon. Weather not that great for the morning commute. The roads are wet and it's tough to see. Let's check in with Auntie San Miguel with the latest in traffic.
Yeah, as Zach said, weather is going to be the biggest issue on the highways this morning. Not only that, but we're having low visibility. Patchiness of fog has been dominating the Austin and the outside area through the whole entire morning commute. This is your view from South Austin as we're starting to see a little bit of rain begin to make through at our Taft Lane camera. A similar situation going for Mopac, capital of Texas highway. We are looking at a drive time right now, Georgetown to MLK at 44 minutes. We're having low speeds across the board, which is good. We want to be cautious not only of our safety, but others on the roadways. Giving you a view of the heaviest traffic across the area. Mopac right now looking like it's going to be heavily dominated no matter if you're taking it to William Cannon to Lady Bird Lake or the southbound travel. Giving you a safe way of staying safe on the wet roads. Safety is going to be our biggest implementation that we want to take this morning. Stay alert, watch for those first responders as they're on the roadways, as well as avoiding cruise control when we have wet roads. With the intensity of the fog, make sure that you have no high beams. If visibility becomes too low or rain becomes too high, make sure that you pull over for safety, lessen your speeds, and avoid driving through those areas that have highness of water. Stay with us. Good Day Austin will return right after this break.
Hi again, friends. We're about 10 minutes away from 9 o'clock on this rainy and stormy Tuesday morning, and team coverage of the storm threat continues right here on Good Day Austin. Right now, this is what it looks like outside with our Pella of Austin skyline cam. Can't see a whole lot. We're socked into the low clouds, the fog, even some drizzle. No storms just yet here in the Austin area just yet. But just give it time. We're in that warm sector in between the warm front and the dry line, and the storm threat will continue to increase. And we've been tracking one storm that's been acting up. Right now, it's still a hailer moving out of Burnett County, going into western Williamson County. So Burnett, the worst of it, moving away from you. Marble Falls, the worst of it, moving away from you. Spicewood, yeah, you have a lot of rain and lightning still, but the worst of it moving off to your east. Liberty Hill, you're next in line. You're in the crosshairs of perhaps quarter-size hail out of this storm with quite a bit of lightning, hundreds of bolts in the last 30 minutes. A good time to stay indoors and avoid driving along Highway 29 in between Georgetown and Burnett until the storm passes. And it is racing to the northeast. Earlier, it did show signs of rotation. Right now, I don't see any rotation that would prompt a tornado warning, but we'll keep a close eye on it. It keeps pulsing. And you can see that hail core just south and west of Liberty Hill on the hail scope. And then more rain and maybe a few thunderstorms starting to show up more down toward Bernie and then also down here in Hayes County. And that's where the next batch of storms will come from, along with this line of storms entering parts of San Saba County. And we're going to have to wait and see if the National Weather Service issues a severe thunderstorm warning up here, because we're tracking some hail cores just west of San Saba. So we have gone from a severe thunderstorm now to an upgraded tornado watch until 4 o'clock. All the counties in yellow. And that tornado threat is going to stay with us. That means watch out. If storms do develop, not all of them will generate enough rotation to produce tornadoes, but some of them could. There's that potential as we have enough low-level wind shear out there to promote rotating thunderstorms. But right now, just the light to moderate rain moving into the Austin area. But here in the next couple of hours, at least through now until about early afternoon, the storm threat will continue to increase with all the rain ingredients still locked in. Team coverage continues. Let's welcome in Leslie London with the latest forecast.
Thank you, Zach. Yeah, so as Zach just mentioned, today's going to be a big day where we just need to be weather aware, know what's going on. I know Zach's been talking for a while, covering not too long ago a tornado warning, and now we have that severe thunderstorm warning in place, which Zach just showed you, but that's the orange color you're seeing here. I've got the warnings and watches up behind me, so all of the yellow is the tornado watch that's going to last until 4 p.m. today. And then in the pink, that's a severe thunderstorm watch, so it's expected to be a little more intense for those of us farther to the east. Now, this is just a model showing you, kind of reiterating what Zach has said. We are expecting things to get better as we get more towards the afternoon, but we're still going to be dealing with storms as we head through the start of our day. So as I kind of slowly fast forward it, you'll see there's still scattered storms across the area, and it does slowly start to move out. And by the time we get to the afternoon, it looks a lot better. But remember that that tornado watch is going to be in place until 4 p.m. So we'll still want to be vigilant up to that point, but most likely we'll start to see a lot of clearing. And then by the evening, it does look like it's going to slow down a bit. We'll be a little quieter as we head into the nighttime. And then as we head into Wednesday, once again, we are going to have a potential for some rain and maybe even some severe weather in spots. But today is your big day where you really need to be focused in, have a way to get those warnings in case they get issued. It's a great day to have that Fox 7 WAP on hand. This is the outlook for severe weather. Obviously, we've already been seeing it, so it makes sense, but we actually have some of us in that third level, the enhanced level, level 3 out of 5, if you're in that orange color here, so farther to the east. If you're in the yellow, you're in that second level, slight risk, and then green is the first level, but everyone's in something, so it is going to be still concerning as we head through the rest of our day today. Now all the threats are involved, so we could potentially see some very strong wind gusts. We're already seeing that in some of those warning areas. Also very large hail, that also has already been happening, and we're in that tornado threat and a little higher than what we typically see, which makes sense why we saw that tornado warning already, but there could be more as we head through the rest of our day today. So again, make sure you have a way to get those warnings when they get issued, because you want to be able to get into your safe place. You don't want to be somewhere where you don't know where to go. And then, of course, in addition, we could see some heavy rainfall. That's been happening too, but there is still that flooding risk as well for all of us across the entire area today. Now, as far as what the models are saying For the rest of the day, they're giving some of us 1 inch, 2 inches as we head all the way through these next upcoming days. But sometimes it doesn't account for a very strong thunderstorm that could bring heavy rain fast, and that's where the flooding concern comes in. Once we get through today, we still have tomorrow where we have an opportunity for some rainfall chances. It's on the lower side, but it's still possible. And then after that, we really start to see them go back down. So we're going to go back to having some sunshine, some calmer conditions, and things are going to quiet down. But I do need to mention tomorrow, because tomorrow some of us are getting clipped by that opportunity to see some severe weather. So this is tomorrow morning. Starts off pretty quiet, lots of cloud coverage out there, and then maybe you start to see some isolated showers and some storms start to move in. Looks like in the afternoon hours, and they do show it out west, and then those storms continue to move eastward through the evening and a little bit into those nighttime hours, and eventually it will start to clear up. I mentioned that we could see severe weather with this. Right now, they're just having it clip kind of the southeastern portions of our viewing area. So right here in that green, which is the marginal, level 1 out of 5, but it's still going to be another important day that if you're in that area, you'll want to be cautious and kind of know what's going on. Something else to keep in mind, I know we've been talking about the storms, that's the big thing, the big concern today, but because of the rain, we've got visibility issues as well. So a lot of us seeing half a mile or less of visibility. Other areas faring a little better, but not too much. So that's something else to keep in mind when you're out there. It's one of those days when you have to head outside. You want to give yourself the extra time just so you can go a bit slower and be extra cautious out there. Temperature-wise, obviously, we're seeing some cooler air thanks to the rain coming down. Some 70s out east, but 68 here in Austin, 64 in Burnet, 62 over in San Saba. Today, it is expected that we're going to warm up a bit, but obviously with the rain, it's not going to be as much, but still 80s. And for the rest of your 7-day forecast, really your biggest concern, of course, is today and that severe weather. I just want you to stay vigilant all day long, know what's going on, and then tomorrow you do have another small chance for seeing some storms and some rain and parts of the area getting clipped by the severe weather chance. After that, though, take a breath. We're going to go back to the sunshine and warm conditions.